Mila, I think the debate over open source AI just got a new front line, and it runs right through Washington.
A front line implies a conflict. This is more like a tectonic shift.
I'm Milo,
I'm Mila.
and this is AI Daily.
In a few minutes, we're going to talk about the Korean startup nobody saw coming that just dropped a model powerful enough to rank in the global top 3.
But first, the tectonic shift. Leaders from some of the biggest AI labs in the US are sounding an alarm over powerful, inexpensive AI models coming from China.
According to a Wall Street Journal report, executives at places like OpenAI and Anthropic are raising concerns in private briefings about national security risks. The core of the issue is the potential for these models to be used in ways that could create what they term a dystopian future.
And this isn't an abstract fear. They're pointing to the speed and scale of development. The argument is that if extremely capable models are widely available and effectively free, it becomes much harder to control their application. Think autonomous cyber attacks, sophisticated disinformation campaigns, that sort of thing.
The tension here is a classic Silicon Valley schism. You have one camp that believes openness is the ultimate safety mechanism. More eyes on the code means faster patching of flaws. And you have another camp, which now includes some very senior people at leading labs, arguing that with frontier models, the risk of misuse outweighs the benefit of openness.
Right. And it forces a question Washington has been wrestling with for a while. Should American companies be allowed to use or build on top of these powerful open-weight models from Chinese firms?
It's a hard question to answer, because the moment you restrict access, you risk ceding the innovation advantage to others who don't have those restrictions. The open question is what regulation could even look like. And this entire conversation was just thrown into overdrive by a specific model release.
Exactly. This isn't theoretical. The policy debate in Washington was reignited by the arrival of Kimi K3 from a company called Moonshot AI.
Moonshot is a prominent Chinese AI startup. The release of Kimi K3 on July 16th served as a concrete example of a highly capable, open-weight model emerging from China's tech ecosystem. It immediately put the abstract fears into a practical context for policymakers.
And the response so far isn't an outright ban. That's the key detail. Instead, the policy tools being discussed are more indirect. We're hearing about procurement rules, which means the US government wouldn't be able to buy or use technology built on these models.
There's also talk of adding companies to the entity list, which would restrict their ability to do business with American firms, and applying public pressure. It's an attempt to slow things down without building a wall.
A wall is difficult to build anyway when you're talking about open-weight models. Once a model is released on a platform like Hugging Face, anyone can download it. The weights are out there. You can't put them back in the box.
Which brings us back to the core dilemma. Do you try to control the supply, which seems increasingly difficult, or do you focus on the demand side by shaping what US companies are allowed to build with? Washington seems to be leaning toward the latter.
So, with all this focus on a US versus China dynamic, everyone missed the model that came out of Seoul.
A Korean startup named Motif Technologies just released a model called Motif-3 Beta on Hugging Face, and the numbers are significant.
I checked the math, then I checked it again. Same answer. It's a 314 billion parameter mixture of experts model. To put that in perspective, while it's a huge model, it only uses about 13 billion active parameters for any given token. It's a design that aims for both scale and efficiency.
And it performs. On the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, it scored a 44. That places it among the top 3 models on that leaderboard at the time it was posted. It also has a 256,000 token context window, which is massive.
This is the surprising part of the story. While the policy world is focused on a 2-player game, the technology itself is not. A startup that wasn't on most people's radar just demonstrated it could build and release a frontier-level open model.
It complicates the narrative. The idea that a handful of large, well-funded labs in 2 countries are the only ones capable of pushing the state-of-the-art is clearly incomplete.
It suggests that the talent and the techniques are more distributed than the headlines would have you believe. An open ecosystem, for better or worse, means breakthroughs can come from anywhere.
The question it leaves is whether policy is chasing the last war. If you design a regulatory framework around 2 superpowers, what do you do when top-tier models start emerging from Korea, France, the UAE, or anywhere else?
Also in AI today, it looks like the traffic impact of AI-native search is starting to show up in the data.
The New York Times is reporting on Cloudflare data that shows a decline in referral traffic to publishers in categories like IT, software, and retail, since the rollout of Google's AI Overviews and AI Mode.
And at the same time, the crawlers are feasting. Those AI training bots reportedly made up 52% of all crawler requests on Cloudflare's network in June. That's up from just 22% in the spring of 2025.
So less traffic out to websites, more data coming in from them. That's a dynamic worth watching.
The map of who can build what is changing faster than anyone can draw it.
The question is whether anyone is reading the map, or just the headlines.
I'm Milo.
I'm Mila.
This is AI Daily for Tuesday, July 21st, 2026.
AI generated, human approved.